Hi, Robert.
Hello.
You got earlier than I thought.
Excuse me?
So far.
I'm eating, so I may not hear.
Hi,
It's also
Chris. Hi, Zach.
hello.
Hello.
Raj mentioned to me that he's going to be a few minutes late, but let's wait also those traditional minutes. So on other news here, there was some aurora that was visible from here, I think Monday night, and I missed it. I don't know how. I was awake. I just didn't see.
You
Did
didn't
see
have
it?
cloud cover?
No cloud cover. Did you see it, Zach?
I'm in California, so I didn't see it.
Oh,
Yeah, supposedly it reached Oregon too, but every time I stepped outside, it was clouds. I saw a picture of it from the Columbia River Gorge,
ooh.
and so that was pretty neat. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
I missed out.
I need more social network, because nobody told me that was happening. So
I just saw it on my news feed.
all right. Let's get started here. That's not the thing that I wanted. Here we are. So first thing, Hotel SDK now is our main. We have to update a bunch of stuff regarding the readmes and the files, but now all the work is there, should be happening there. So kind of, we perhaps should do a little celebration. I don't know anything, but cheers to us. We switched fully to the SDK, so our work now should be kind of going to that direction. I will join the Tadas and the party, and let's celebrate. When you get to the weekend, remember that as an accomplishment. I would like to have a discussion about the error handling, so we could set up, at least have a decision for that. I know that Robert opened an issue with the spec. I don't think there was, last time that I checked it yesterday, I didn't see update on the spec issue that Robert opened. But I think basically I tend to favor kind of failing fast on a startup. I know that that's not the approach, for instance, that Upstream used, and some libraries on OpenTelemetry even do a bit different. But I tend to think that bad configuration kind of, I don't know, something that's supposed to be an integer and the user puts a text, it should fail the startup, Before, I already give the headline, but let's wait a few minutes to discuss that until Raj can join. So then we can kind of try to, if not solve, at least kind of settle the questions that we want to answer to decide once for all that thing. So not deciding today, but perhaps at least having the work items for us to follow up and finish that. Sorry. And I think then the next thing is the project board that Robert did update and close a bunch of issues. I think, Robert, if you want to go, I think we should go over it and see if we can shave even more items that are there yet, so we have a very lean and kind of really matching the work that we plan to do. All right, let me stop sharing, and if you can share and go over it.
Like me, give me a second. Start. Projects is here. So maybe before I jump into details, not all issues are there. Some because only issues that have project assigned are visible here. So I disassigned several of them. I think 2 or 3. One is this remove big blob Git repository. And second, I think is this hard-coded name from the output file, because right now we are not supporting macOS. And then the third one I think was regarding this CodeQL workflow scanning, because I thought that simply it might be important in the future, but I don't think it. I think it will just clutter our board here. Any comments here, or is it okay for you?
I'm just thinking about the blobs. I know that is a kind of personal peeve for you, but I kind of can live with those blobs there on the repo for some time. But also,
I'm open it. Maybe we can decide to close it right now.
yeah, I think we have to rewrite the history, right? And if people want to get rid in their own forks, then they need to create new forks, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so from my perspective, I'm fine living with the blobs. If somebody wants really to remove them, I don't have anything against, but on the other hand, I kind of, do you really want to do it? What people think?
Okay, so I'm just closing it.
Yeah. I think it's a personal peeve for you, but
meeting. Yeah, it's okay.
I mean, it might come up again in the future if the repo gets too
Larger
big.
and larger. Yeah. Okay. I think I have also, I'm not sure if that one is, yeah, I have not put this support for monitoring SharePoint. I don't know, Chris, if you want to put it on the board or not really.
So that's something that we might eventually want to get to as far as testing and validation goes, but I don't think it's required for an alpha or a beta necessarily.
We can consider basically also renaming this project if you want, something like beta. What do you think?
Right now, the board, we have 2 placeholder items where we kind of just drew lines.
Mhm.
And so that's how we've been kind of managing that. Do we want to continue going with that lightweight flow, or do we want multiple projects?
Okay, maybe that will be easier. Let's keep it as it is right now. Because I even thought that there is no easy way to here like move to other projects, for example.
Okay.
So this will be easier for us during meetings. All right, so this is the current status here. So this is the ones that I decided to keep like before beta release. So basically here are the items about documentation, which I think are kind of important. During POC, initially we haven't created any integration tests. We have started adding them later, but still I think there are some samples that do not have any integration tests. I think even these are the basic integration tests that simply are, for example, creating a span using SDK. Rasmus, correct me if I'm wrong, because I may be misaligned here. Okay, So
not sure at all.
yeah, so we can close it if you occur that they're there, but I think I checked quickly and I think we are missing some even basic integration tests.
Yeah, probably mostly like tests that are done in the OpenTerm.NET SDK.
Yep. Then I created today an item like add usable artifacts, because right now the build does not produce any like tracer or thing that someone can download and use. And also I added the information that besides adding any artifacts that someone can use, like MVP, also adding some MVP, how to get them and how to use them.
Yeah, so probably we need kind of to put this in a list, right? So we need to build the artifacts, isolate, pack them. How we are gonna make them available to people to try, you know? I think from the very beginning, just have links to the artifacts in GitHub is fine, but as we move forward, we need something better. But I think for now, just producing the artifacts and have links that we can perhaps put in the README or something for people to give a try, you know.
Exactly. The first one is about just updating UseHMD. I think we have some misalignment there. I think there are some environmental variables from native code which are not listed. Maybe some should be removed. So it's about double checking. This error handling is something that we'll probably discuss later. Raj is already here, but we will discuss it later. Also, during previous meeting, we were I think that Zach was describing this directory, how they are used, and based on discussion and how I check the code, I believe that only 2 directories are needed right now, these 2. The rest of ones could be removed. They seem to be unused.
Definitely net45 is not needed.
And this one as well, or not?
We can test net standard. If we're gonna be definitely running on net core app 3.1 or higher, then I don't believe net standard 2.0 is gonna be necessary.
Because the SDK still requires at least .NET Core 3.1 as far as I remember. So you're basically supporting more frameworks at Datadog. That's probably where you're having it.
Yeah, it's more or less a backup for us. But if we can kind of demonstrate that we don't need it here, then yes, we can also remove net standard 2.0.
I think this should be closed already.
This one?
Yeah, I mean the whole task, because net45 is already gone, and the test against net5 actually removed the net standard also.
Did we remove net standard 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're just left at 4.6.1 and net core up 3.1.
So we can close it, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, just maybe if we can find the PR that does that. Just
I
link
think
to
it was
this.
here,
I was
but
not-
I'm
Yeah.
not. But
Yeah,
I'm
exactly,
not,
this one.
but
did it.
I was not sure if you have also removed. It's here. This is where you removed it.
This place, and there are also other probably props that define the actual frameworks for every project.
Okay. I can double check it later and then I will close it if you prefer. But
Yeah.
that's good. One issue
Yeah,
less.
let's double check. Yeah.
Yeah, and these 2 are after beta.
Yeah, the one question that I have, where we're currently setting the flag to allow communicating over gRPC without using TLS. I'm wondering if we need that sooner rather than later,
This
just so
one?
that it's not a surprise. Yes, that one. Just the whole secure by default. And then you have to opt in to something less secure.
So prefer to have it before beta, right?
I think so.
Yeah, no, makes sense.
I think there's also, we should create an issue, like a general one, about the environmental variables which are needed. We have created internally in Jira some list of basically things that should be supported, like this OTel tray, trace exporter, blah blah blah. So this like this set of basically environmental variables that should be supported for MVP. To select, you know, for example, the OTP exporter or Jaeger exporter or Zipkin exporter, etc. Some of them are already supported, but basically the plan is to contribute to the SDK. So they will handle the environmental variables, and we just basically consume it. But I need to create a ticket for it.
So we have the environment variables, but we talked about some time ago having things like turning on and off exporters, for instance. This we don't have yet, right? Or I kind of get confused what we did on main and on the POC. You know, I remember that on main we had
We have the exporters already.
Okay.
We just need to double check. I will just create some kind of a table with an issue when we can track basically what are the variables what are needed or what are not. I think it would be the easiest way to handle it.
Okay, and the stuff that basically that's what we need to do to track this stuff like propagators and things, because we added that to main. But now that we are using the SDK, I don't know if the environment variable are already available for us to use it. You know, that's the question. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. One question related to that. We need to update the internal build of the SDK, right? When was the last time that we did that? Yeah, I think the first one will be to catch up to OTel SDK, whatever it is, and they are probably getting ready to publish something. But I think they published something very recently.
Yeah, I want to say it was last Friday or something like that.
Yeah, last time I checked, we were already missing one version.
Yeah, so
this must be more than one now.
Yeah, so we should do one update because we already can pick up some of the environment variables, and then we have a more accurate picture about when we're gonna what is still missing regarding environment variables. Any volunteers to do that? Okay, I will try to do this update during this week. So let's see where we are in that regard. I update to whatever they released last week, and then we check the environment variables. I will try to use and see how it goes.
Do you want me to create an issue right now?
To upgrade?
Yeah.
Yes. Let's create and assign to me. One thing that, but this is not for the beta, it's more for our internals and kind of help with people getting to the project. And there is documentation already that Tony wrote. I remember looking when we were switching from call target to call site, but we should kind of document how the things work. You know, I started that overview, but we should keep going deeper on that, not required for the beta, but we should keep going on that so people can understand when they arrive at the repo, how things work, you know. So if people want to write instrumentations or debug and understand this stuff, we need to have that kind of a little bit more information about how the things work and how to do this stuff. So as I said, not for this beta, but later we need to do that. All right, so I think I invite people to kind of, let's try to use the board now to guide us. And I think we can move the discussion about the error handling. What do you think, Robert?
Yeah, just give me a sec. So I'll move it to committed here. So this is this one. I can put it also as to me as committed because I kind of started working on it. Okay, so basically, Raj, thanks a lot for starting the discussion here. I'm not, you mentioned that Trask from Java instrumentation told they are not impacting user application, but I was also talking internally with other developers of Auto Java, and they say they're not impacting the user, but are in the runtime. They told me that as far as they know, if there's some misconfiguration, they think that they are crashing the application.
Oh. So
At
when I had a discussion, he was saying that we should never, at least the design principle what Java auto instrumentation has is they should never crash an user application at any cost, and they should do log only to the console. Like they have a console logging, inbuilt console logging, so they wanted to log it there. And
okay.
especially he provided that the principle somewhere from their repo. That's a PR that's being in progress. So that's what the resilience they want to follow.
Yeah, so regarding this PR, I also wanted to double check there. I don't know if my comment is already resolved. So I asked here about the resilience. It is the PR to the community about the values of OpenTelemetry. And here is even read the author even said that he didn't had in mind the initialization time. He was just thinking about the runtime. And I don't know with your chance. So based on it, just to make sure that we will have any kind of consistency and ability to hear from others, I have created this. I need to close the tabs. I have them. There are a lot of them. So it was this one. So I have created this issue in the specification. And initially I proposed this auto fail fast environmental variable, but then we had a little discussion internally at Splunk, and there was a lot of guys preferred to basically change it to should instead of may, and basically prefer the fail fast.
Sure. So what we could do is we could stick to whatever we are doing now. We are throwing an exception from instrumentation now. So
Correct.
we should continue to do that and bring the clarity in the community on this. So whatever we agree on that, we will do the changes later. Anyways, we are tracking this one.
Exactly.
Yeah, sounds good. One thing related to that, I think Rasmus and Raj already mentioned this on one of the PRs. It does seem that we really can unify the startup hook with the loader. kind of right now it's using it, but we can even go one step further and just have one code. I'm not, because the code is small, I don't think that is something that we should kind of just, we need to do it, but it's something that we could look in the near future, you know, just because having just a single piece then makes things, I think, easier. But it's a side comment on that. So we are agreeing that for now, let's throw exception on initialization. Let's be noisy in this case, in case of misconfiguration. I think especially now that we are trying this beta, I want to avoid that case of kind of, hey, there is no data, and then asking people to go to the logs and files is kind of not ideal, you know. So if we can give kind of clear error messages, especially on this beta, I think you'll be more. We will get more feedback in that case, you know.
So can we agree that basically as part of this issue, we'll just create some little, I don't know, sentence about how we are handling errors in our, for example, contributing docs or some design docs, basically maybe I'll figure out somewhere. And once we merge it, we can close it. And I will just try to follow up on the specification with these proposals. Basically, it's a separate issue that I'm basically working on.
Yeah, we have that document with the high-level goals, right?
Yep.
I think in some place in that doc, perhaps after that high-level session goals, we add that as our current behavior, and we describe and even perhaps link the
Makes sense. Makes sense. So I will do it maybe this week or next week.
Cool.
Have
And,
you gone to, I was going to say, Robert, have you gone to the specification SIG meeting to kickstart this discussion by any chance?
No, you want to do it, Chris?
I gotta brush up. I just know that at least for some of the specification changes my teammates have done, they've only been getting traction during the SIG meeting. And outside of the SIG meeting, they've gotten almost no traction.
So far, I get 100% traction if I basically were submitting PRs. So I think that I will get no information here by end of the week. Then I will just create a PR, and I think that then I start to get some comments.
I was gonna say even on our PRs, it's been painfully slow and silent.
So perhaps open the PR and then go to the next meeting, you know?
We'll see. I don't feel at pressure. I think it can even stay for a month, right? It won't hurt us.
Yeah. No, but I if you think as the project as a whole, you want to kind of unify as much as possible. You know, it's never going to be 100% possible with all these languages and everything, but the closer that we can stay, the better. I think for us doing .NET, of course, is Java that is kind of the behavior that if people see in Java, they expect the same in .NET and vice versa, you know, but there are differences, but yeah. Raj, do you have any next steps planned? Because we talked about the wrapper that is kind of, I think, in my mind, the next step regarding the startup hook.
Let me check.
Yes, Paulo. So currently what I'm doing is I'm working on the integration test to finish it off. This kind of like whatever the implementation we have in this project is a kind of new learning curve for me. So just taking a look and trying to finish off that this week. So probably from Monday onwards, my plan is to start on the diagnostic sources, which I provided a small demo few weeks back on that. So create an issue and start the work on it. I might have one of my other colleague, Michael, also join with me here shortly to provide like implementation on it.
Sounds good to me. All right, we are on the awkward silence moment.
Yeah, one more question, Ramos, last time he bought me on that PR is about like we having both the like CLR managed library is also built as native. He got a very good point there. And I also whenever I build something, I just take a look into the module list and everything. So I kind of see like it's both native and managed layer stays there, and optimization and all is being turned off for our libraries, even when we do a startup hook, because the build earlier it's done with the native one. So there is some change required there. Probably I'll be doing little more research in that area to see how to build only the managed. Maybe I don't know whether we should plan to have 2 NuGets or only with 1 NuGet with different parts. Because I see the optimization is turned off, even if we don't need a bytecode instrumentation in that case.
I see. Yeah, this is just kind of first thought because you mentioned, I think we need to pack this separately because the startup hook can be much smaller in that sense and kind of relatively easier to deploy, you know.
Yeah.
If you think Windows kind of the profiler basically requires a install, you know, we can do with NuGet packages, but then is a package with a bunch of content that is kind of, I would say, a bit heavier than just the startup hook. But this is just kind of on the spot, the first thing that comes to my mind. You have to think carefully about it.
I also had a similar thought process like you, what you're explaining. But I think this is like we need to like think towards it and then take a call.
So when you're talking about optimizations being disabled, are you talking about the optimizations that are being disabled via the profiler APIs? Or are you talking more about the assemblies that are built?
The assemblies that are built, I'm speaking about. Like the .NET feels like that says that the optimization on this assembly is turned off. And thanks, Shamus. Like you got a good point last time on the PR, so we could do the further investigation there on it.
It's just one more question about the startup hook. So last time you mentioned that the core profile is starting earlier, but is it early enough to set the startup hook environment variables?
That I have not checked. But if profiler is starting, why do we need to worry about like if we have already a profiler, we don't need to worry about startup hook setting up that environment variable from there, right?
I was thinking like if profile is setting the startup hook environment variables, then it's just simple out of the box setup. So user doesn't need to care about this variable.
Okay, David, if David is here, maybe we will post this question to David.
I'm looking, and so I can tell you in about maybe 2 minutes.
That's dynamic researching.
Yeah, and then afterwards, I think we can remove the loader from the Linux and the macOS deployment. So we can remove all the CMake downgrades and everything that complicates the build.
But we still need the profiler to be able to call and load the assembly, right? So we are gonna basically you are saying we're gonna do by the path, right?
I mean, like so basically, like profiler can tell startup hook to load everything, and then
Yeah, no, but okay, it can tell the startup hook to load everything, but that could be the same code. But what I'm saying is that right now, the profiler, it has the bytes. So it loads the bytes from memory and loads the assembly from the bytes. We still need to load the assembly. So how we load the assembly, that's what I'm saying, is by the path. So now we go and
So basically you mean the only .NET FX way. So that's the only exception that needs embedded loader.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I mean, the .NET framework is the only one that needs embedded loader. Do you mean that?
Yeah, that basically what I'm saying is that because the native profiler has the resource, it doesn't need to know anything about the paths at that stage. It does know because of the file and things like this, but in principle, it doesn't need to know because it has the bytes of the assembly. So it can load irrespective of the location. But if we switch to kind of using an assembly outside the profiler, then we need to be very careful about location. I think for .NET Core in general, that's not a problem where we are going to load the assembly. But I think for a framework, that could be a bit tricky.
I'm not sure what case you actually mean.
So when we have the profiler, we want to be able to, we have to load the startup, the bootstrap, let's call it bootstrap because it's a generic name. We need to call that assembly, right? We need to load that assembly to be our bootstrap and use the common code, whatever. What I'm saying is that right now, the profiler doesn't need to know anything about path to that assembly because it has the assembly as a resource.
Oh,
and you
yeah.
mentioned we can remove the resource and load. And then I'm kind of, oh, but now we need the path. Is that a problem? That's my question. The fact that now we need a path. So we are going to be using load from, you know, my question is that a problem, you know?
Yeah, so basically if we're staying with the same folder structure, then it will be like really easy. So you need to set up anyway the environment variable that's stating the full path.
Yeah, I think we need to test this with the framework to be sure. As I said, I think with .NET Core is not a problem at all. But I always get a little bit worried about .NET framework because I think the rules for that are a bit different. So
yeah, the framework one is tricky. So there are two things. It seems like it's easy to replace with the path, and it's in a core profiler. Get assembly and symbols byte is the method that does all the things. And if it's not like easy to replace with external DLL, then we can just chop it up to two native DLLs. And in case of .NET Framework, then you load the embedded loader that's embedded to another native DLL.
Oh, so basically what you are saying is kind of, okay, we remove the loader from that .NET Core in general, and the Windows build of the native has it to be able to load in the framework.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, we don't need to punish the .NET Core people, and because the .NET Framework is anyway a little bit slower, then doesn't. It's like just punishing them, let's say.
I see. Just a general feeling, do you guys think this is something that we should try right now or something that we should postpone for kind of after we have this beta?
I can say from myself that yesterday I started to think if basically .NET framework is an important like framework for us, given that we are already saying that we are supporting only the SDK, which is like 4.6.1, which already says that we are kind of not handling quite a good legacy applications. And I started to think that maybe and basically, you know, in .NET Core you have these hooks and other stuff, and maybe to also simplify a lot of stuff. I started even to think that maybe it would be possible to make the ILRE writing without the profiler, but I'm not sure. I know that, for example, currently the code coverage done in currently, like, the new tools are not using the .NET profiler; they're just using some hooks.
Yeah, but that
Yeah, go on.
we still need bytecode instrumentation, and that is only via the profiler, right? Not only via the profiler, but we are not talking about alternatives to that at this point. You know, kind of. Yeah, we could use some. I would say, for instance, code coverage. We use Coverlet, right? Coverlet does at build time the rewriting. But
You're right, it's at build time, correct.
Yeah. So I think we for now and as that old conversation, I think at least 5 years we still need bytecode instrumentation. Also, the stuff that Greg mentioned about other capabilities that the CLR profiler brings, profiling. That I think OpenTelemetry has been mentioning this, that has been conversations. So I think we still have to keep the profiler for quite some time, or maybe depending on the direction that OpenTelemetry takes, we need to keep the profiler, you know. So I think it's too much for us to chill right now to pick up something like, hey, let's try without the profile.
Yeah, and it's not just a profiler. So basically, it's a domain neutral loading and everything like this there.
David wants to speak up, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I was just, so now we've kind of moved on, but I looked at the code and it should be possible to set the startup hook from the profiler. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say 100% sure without actually trying it, but I'm pretty sure it's possible because all the startup hook stuff is in managed code.
Do you have the cycles to do a test, because you are going to be much productive than us testing that, you know?
Not this week, but potentially after that.
Okay, I think that's good for us. We are not rushing for that. I will say that related to the question that I was saying, my personal take is that we don't do this suggestion that Rasmus was talking about right now. So I think having the answer in the time frame that you can help us with that will be great. Then in the future we can do the change. I think for this beta we kind of don't shoot for that. We keep the things that have been worked for some time for the time being.
Yeah, sure. It doesn't break anything, so just optimization.
Yeah. Any disagreements? I should say not disagreement. I should say any different opinion.
Do you want to have an issue to remind us about it for later?
Yes.
Yeah, I can write an issue and put all the points there.
Cool. Yeah, create the issue and we track on that one. All right. We, in theory, still have 15 minutes, but anyone wants to bring something up? All right. So 15 minutes back to everyone. Thanks, everyone. It was, I think, very, very good meeting.
Bye.
Bye.
But
Thank you.